Hi guys, I'm Forrester here. It's near the end of 2019. Another year has come and gone. It's hard to believe. My pen collection has more than doubled in size over the year, but it's still fairly modest. And let me uncover it and show the pen collection to you. Now, I only started collecting fountain pens a year and a half ago, but I've been interested in them my whole life. I've watched some other year-end pen videos by other YouTubers that show there are new additions in 2019, or maybe their whole collection like I'm going to do. Some show their favorite pens of 2019 and others their most used pens. So each one of those topics is slightly different. In particular, I've been liking watching the videos that show the top 3 pens of famous pen people that Apple Boom puts out. You might look for some of those videos. Now, my collection is so small that I'm going to combine several topics into this one video. I'll show you my whole pen collection of 10 pens. They'll be in order of how often I use them, and I'll note which pens I bought in 2019 and which are my favorites. So let's get started. Okay, I'll be going from left to right, starting with my most used pen of 2019, and it's this Pilot Custom 823. And the one I got is in amber. This has a medium nib, and I'll just show you the nib right there. And I just love using this pen. This is a new pen of 2019. Now, my second most used pen is this one here. Now, you've seen videos. I've made videos of each of these pens. This is my TWSBI. This is a TWSBI Eco. It's in translucent blue. This has a fine nib. There's the nib right there. I enjoy using this. This was my favorite pen until I got the Pilot. This was new in 2019, and it was one of 3 Japanese pens that I bought, or Asian pens that I bought this year to do a comparison. Another one that I bought on our China trip in 2019 in the spring is this one. This is a Moonman M600. This has a fine nib. I really enjoy writing with this nib. I did have some work done on the nib at the Raleigh-Durham Pen Show, and that really improved the writing experience with this pen. I love the look of that green, and I've matched a green ink up to this. I'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay, my next and the 4th favorite pen, and one that gets used the most, is my very first pen that I bought in 2018. So far these 3 right here are new in 2019. This was my very first pen that I bought in 2018. This is a Conklin Classic Fireline, I believe is the name of it. And I believe this has a fine nib, if I remember right. But I enjoy writing with this one. This one is a pleasure to write with. And one thing that I've been a little disappointed with is that I haven't used this nearly as much as I did the first year that I owned it, mainly because it has some competition. All right, the 5th pen is one that I've done videos of and mentioned my disappointment in. This is my Lamy 2000. And this has a medium nib, which is one reason why I think I'm disappointed in it. Now, I have forced myself to use this pen, and I've tried to force myself to use it for, say, like a week at a time, and I can write with it and I can get used to it. But nevertheless, I have to force myself to use it. Okay, my 6th pen, and this one was new in 2018, so these 2 were from 2018. This is new for 2019. I bought 2 of these. One I gave to my wife, but this is a Pilot Metropolitan. This has a fine nib. Right there you can see it. And this I just run Metropolitan ink cartridges through. I have this one in red. It's my editing pen, and I can use it on any paper. So this one actually gets a lot of use because I do a lot of editing. Okay, next is this pen, which was the 3rd pen that I bought on our China trip in last spring in 2019. This is orange in case that doesn't come across exactly right. but this is my Hero 359. This was a very cheap pen. It's the only pen that I have that has an extra fine nib on it, and so I can use this on any paper, and I tend to use it a good bit. This was new in 2019. Now another one that I had in 2018, this was a gift from my wife. I don't know what to call this pen other than just a olive wood kit pen. So this was olive wood that actually came from Israel, I think Jerusalem, and it was a gift from my wife, as I said, and so it has special meaning to me, and I've enjoyed using it. The 9th pen in my collection was a free pen. This is one, it's called generally a Charlie pen, and it came with a bottle of Noodler's ink that I ordered. Now, I don't use this pen very much because I've had problems with it burping ink on paper, and I thought I had figured out a way to solve that problem, mainly by keeping a higher volume of ink in the reservoir there, but I still have problems with it. And so that tends to be an annoyance. I'm going to use this pen mainly to try different inks from time to time. And the pen that started it all, if it'll come out, there we go, is this one right here. This was a pen that I remember as a child that my dad used. This is a Wherever pen. I don't recall how old it is, but it's got some age on it. And the reason I thought it might not come out is, and the reason I don't use it, is this cap will not hook very well and just pops off. And so I can't be sure that that cap's not going to fall off, and this will leak ink. So anyway, this is a pen that has special meaning to me. I won't ever get rid of it. It'll be part of the collection, but I doubt that I'll ever use it. So those are the pens that make up my collection right now at the end of 2019. Now, I did want to cover what I've learned about fountain pens this year. And the first lesson is that I clearly have favorites, but I like using them all. So instead of focusing on the favorites, I try to rotate through all of them. But I clearly have these top 4 pens right here that are my favorites. And you might notice that that Lamy 2000, which is one of my most expensive pens, is not one of the favorites. Now, the second lesson I learned is that I really would prefer to keep all my pens inked up, but 10 pens are just too many for me to keep inked. The ones that get the least use, these down here, tend to dry up, and then I start having starting problems with them when I try to write. I've decided to just keep my favorites inked up, so several of these don't have ink in them right now. The third lesson that I learned this past year is that I enjoy matching inks up with my pens. Now, some people don't care about that at all, but I do. Each of my top 6 pens, these right here, have a different ink in them. This one has Mont Blanc Toffee Brown. This one has Diamine Velvet Blue. The green one here has Mont Blanc Irish Green. This one, which is sort of a maroon color, has Noodler's Red Black ink. The Lamy 2000 just has a Noodler's black ink in it. And then the Metropolitan has a Metropolitan red ink cartridge in it. But each one of these that I use a lot has a different ink. And I really like, sometimes I'll carry 2 pens that I might want to be writing with the blue ink, but also have a red for editing. So often I carry a couple of pens. I hope you've enjoyed seeing how my pen collection has grown this year. I only plan to add 2 or 3 pens to my collection in 2020. Maybe a Sailor, a Mont Blanc, or a Pelikan. Those are the brands that I'm looking at more than any others right now, but we'll see. Y'all take care.